Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Taurus. If Taurus is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, knock, 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 and let's see what do these tea leaves have to say tonight. Excuse me. And so, our card for this reading is the Eight of Discs, and this has to do with prudence. This is intelligence in material affairs. Kind of saving away, being able to build your reserves. And, I think really refining skills, taking on new skills, and so on. Okay, so let's do this one more time here. We're just gonna line this up one more time as well. Okay. All right, so where I want to begin is right here. We have a person standing in the middle of the bowl here, and this is in the material world, physical world, base reality, and they seem to be staring up at this figure here, okay? And I see this as kind of a symbol of wholeness. I know it's not a perfect circle, it's not a perfect square, triangle, whatever, but it is complete. There is a beginning and an end. They all kind of go together. Well, there is not a beginning in it. It just is perpetual, I guess, is what I should say. And so I feel like it is the sense of staring, gazing into a place of great stability. I heard you. I knew you were coming. Oh my goodness. And we had a little appearance of the birthday balloon as well. We have this birthday balloon that's been kind of floating around the house for the last few months. Couple months, I should say, since the beginning of summer. Come on, buddy. You got to get down, please. Thank you. Go on now. You and your sister, you got to go. Go. Go on. Both of you. Go on. Pudgy, get on. Go to your bed over there. Look, there's a nice bed for you. Okay, it's getting late, and they're telling me it's bedtime pretty soon here. Okay, so we're looking at a person who is staring into this place of great stability where things are all kind of coming together. They are supporting themselves, right? I feel like you are yearning for a sense of security. And I believe that you are moving towards that. You have been making the efforts to kind of get your house in order, your affairs in order, your, all of the things that you need into the right places so that you do have that really solid foundation, okay? And I feel like, you're really starting to get this taste of what it's like to be able to rely on or anticipate or know that there's going to be some kind of consistency. And I feel like that maybe had been lacking for a while. Okay, maybe it's never been kind of the way you lived. Maybe you're kind of a real free spirit, and that's, wonderful. But at times it can get, tiring. I mean, it wears you down, having to always be, shifting about. And, God bless those who can live that way. I, for one, am not one of them. I like to dig in like a little, what are those things? They're like sand fleas or whatever. They like dig into the sand and bury themselves real quick. I'm like one of those things. I like to get in there. And so I do feel like this is kind of like a new cycle for you. You are kind of, I feel like, setting down roots, or maybe you already have, but you're starting to feel, you're feeling the balance, the security, the payoff, okay? There's not really a feeling of restlessness, although I think in the beginning that can be very natural. And listen, I'm not advocating for anybody to settle down in any form, in any configuration. You know, we all have our ways of living, and the wonderful thing about life is there's no fixed state, right? Everything is always changing. Everything everywhere is always changing. Okay, there's, you know, we might perceive things to be the same over a long period of time, but they really are never the same, are they? Okay, so I feel like, let's see, I have this little, it looks like a duck. It looks like it's going after a fish. Now, I don't know if ducks eat fish, but I feel like they probably do, if they could grab a little one, right? But I feel like the sense of a little bit of like serenity, kind of a little duck bobbing around on the water, you know, sticking your head in, getting your lunch, just kind of going with the flow of things, but feeling like, I feel like you just really never considered it to be possible that you would feel so at peace in this place that you've created for yourself. I almost feel like this is your first serious attempt at maybe finding like a forever location, maybe not a forever home, but at least in the region, right? You're not gonna be moving across the world anytime soon. At least this is how you feel right now, okay? I feel like you just have this sense of wanting to settle it down a little bit, okay? And so I just get this image of kind of really enjoying your surroundings, enjoying the fruits of your labor. I see we have a little, a butterfly, okay? Again, that transmutation, transformation, metamorphosis. It's amazing what big life events can do for how we perceive the world, the things that we maybe thought we never wanted, you know. For me, it was like having a family. You know, I never thought I'd have a kid. It was not even on my radar. I met somebody who felt the same way, you know, and then we did. We ended up pregnant, and it was such a change. I feel like a completely different person. You know, when I was a kid, I probably would have been like, oh, this lady, she's a sellout, right? But, you know, it's just different things change us. Right? And we're all different. We all are changed by different circumstances. You know, you maybe always thought you wanted to have a family, and then when you did, it just wasn't right for you. You know, you just never know, right? So, let's see. I want to look up here. I was looking at this one, and I have to say, I think this one is so interesting. I do believe that you have been having some intense visitations through your dreams. We have a bed right here. We have a person sitting in the bed, sitting upright too, not laying down. Well, yeah, sitting upright, not laying down, in like a resting position, sleeping position, like you've been startled, right? And then we have here, it looks like some kind of apparition, almost kind of reminds me of the Mothman a little bit. And then we have here a serpent who's at the foot of the bed, okay? So I feel that you maybe have been having some bad dreams, at least dreams that don't feel easy, okay? Maybe night terrors, I don't know. It could be, you know, there's the spectrum of how intense things might feel. But I feel like you just, it's been really, I mean, kind of startling, I think, but also like they're so potent that they're dragging over into your waking life. As I'm talking about this, I just remembered that I had a dream like this. I actually was dreaming so deeply, and it was like kind of scary that I rolled out of my bed, and I thankfully didn't fall on the floor. My feet came down, but I had been dreaming that I was in some kind of house where there were some kinds of, you know, I don't know, something kind of like oppressive, tormenting me. I was trying to contain it. It got out of hand. And so I ran across the street thinking, if I get off the property, away from the house, and I can just make it till morning, then it will stop, right? And I go into like a bush next to somebody else's house, and there's kind of this little hole in there, and I jump in it, and I'm like, oh, and I can feel it's looking for me from the windows of my house, right across the street. I'm across the street at the neighbor's house, and I'm thinking, okay, hey, maybe I can just rest here. It can't see me. I'm fine. And then it started raining, and this bush I'm in starts filling up with water, and I feel like I'm going to drown if I don't get out of there. But if I get out of there, they're gonna see me. And so I start to struggle, and next thing I know, I wake up. I wake up because I'm falling out of the bed. You know, and that, I think this is because I have a lot of anxieties coming up. This is a really difficult time of the year for me. And I always have kind of night terrors and visitations, and this feeling of being out of control of some of the more emotional elements of my previous life, or you know, parts of my life that were before this one. And you know, I think it could be in the air. We're going through so many retrogrades right now as well. I feel like there's a lot of gateways open right now. A lot of things to be attended. And I do believe that this is not a nefarious thing. I think that these are kind of like, well, just little, I would say kind of warnings, but really it's like, you know, the more difficult, they seem to appear as being kind of scary, but they are bringers of knowledge. Okay, like if we think about like the Mothman, if you know who the Mothman is, if you don't, go look it up. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details, but basically this thing is, you know, a moth it's a big, huge, like 10-foot tall moth, but humanoid, kind of a human body, kind of a moth, right? Has glowing red eyes. Whenever it shows up, bad things happen. It's like, you know, it's the brings bad omens. Okay. And the serpent, of course, knowledge at a price, basically. But you know, these things, they kind of don't ask if you want to know or not. They just kind of show up and start spilling the beans all over your floor, don't they? And so, you know, I think that this is a good sign that you need to fortify yourself, okay? Make sure that you're having a healthy build up to your sleep So maybe turning off the TV a little earlier, maybe having some, you know, breathing exercises, making sure. I love to take a shower before I go to bed because it really grounds me. You know, just trying to turn off the negative self-talk, the things you're worrying about, you know, all the stuff they tell you. Making the room dark and cool if you are able. And, you know, but I also think that if these things are coming over into your waking life and you're remembering some of the dreams, definitely write it down. You know, there might be important patterns, symbols, messaging coming through. This is a really prominent formation here. So I think this is something that is really kind of, you know, it's important. Doesn't mean bad things are coming. I don't think so. I think it's just you confronting some of the stuff that is coming up because of the configuration of the world right now. Who is not feeling scared about something, right? And so, you know, also take heed here and hopefully maybe do some mindfulness and soothing techniques, stimming, and so on. Again, if you are not familiar with the term stimming, it's self-stimulation. You can go look that up, and there are things that you can do that will help you in the moment when you're having anxiety, okay, or your mind is racing, or you're having trouble focusing, or whatever. Okay, let's see. Now I'm looking at this one, and it looks like we have maybe a cow here and a sheep. And we have down here, maybe, it kind of looks like a person who's sitting in a meditative state, and we have a heart. And they're kind of built upon each other. And I kind of feel like as I'm looking at this, as I'm saying this, it almost actually looks like an owl, and it's some kind of rodent, okay? And I'm thinking, like, this is at night, it's like going to pick that rat or that mouse up, and carry it off. You know, and I feel, you know, what's interesting is that and there's the heart there too, but I feel like it's almost a sense of you have this anxiety that there's some kind of predatory person in your life, maybe, or you're worried that something's gonna happen. And I don't know, you know, that you're wrong, but I think that maybe you've been kind of hyper vigilant about it. And I almost wonder, like, of course, listen to how you feel. Your intuition is the most important thing. Sometimes, though, if you've been through some hard things in your life, sometimes our, like, radar or meter or whatever for crisis can be kind of a little wonky, right? I have PTSD, so especially if I'm not sleeping enough, or I'm having a lot of anxiety about, you know, just other things, I get startled really easily, and I start to really catastrophize everything. You know, I worry, oh, my daughter's, you know, she's climbing too high on that tree, you know, or whatever. She's like a foot off the floor, you know, and I'm freaked out. I'm scared she's going to fall. I have to turn away and let my husband deal with it because I'm just in a state of panic about everything. So I'm not saying this is what that is or what you're going through, but I think that with this kind of person in this meditative pose down here, and this is in the spiritual place on the rim, I feel like the universe is kind of telling you to keep an eye out. You know, make sure that everything's okay, but I think you also have to, you know, focus on bringing your anxiety levels down, whatever it is, you know. And I think that partially this could be aligned with this first thing we were talking about, where you are really looking for this place of stability. You've been longing for it. You are getting into it. And then your mind starts going off. Like, okay, this thing is going to disrupt this work I've been doing. I have come so far. And now this, you know, whatever is going to swoop in and ruin what I have going on. And that's natural. We are going to all think about, like, you know, the list of things that could go wrong. Well, you know, sometimes we have to kind of just take a step back, breathe, get some of that energy out of us, work on our grounding, our gratitude list, our mindfulness, positive self-talk, taking time to rest, do some leisurely things, your interests, your passions, okay? All of that stuff is so important. Even if you are really busy, you know, you have to take time for those things, because without finding balance in your life, everything else is going to come crashing down. It just can't. You can only operate so long off of that, you know, being super high strung and worried about this, worried about that. You know, you can't control everything, but you can control how you react, right? So taking those breaks, making sure that you are, you know, taking it easy when you can, and coming to things with a more logical and rested mind. I mean, that's so important ultimately. Okay. And so we have, and this totally proves it to me, we have this little turtle. It looks like this little body and legs, and then its neck is out. Just slowing it down, right? Reserving those energies, being prudent of your vitality, not spending all of your mental power, you know, in every little place. Taking it easy, taking it easy. Okay. And I forgot about this one. Excuse me. We have a circus. Okay. And this was, what was this? Oh, the bed. So we have the circus. We even have there's a little flag on the top. It looks like two people going in. Almost looks like a scene out of that show with the dragons, right? There's a dragon right there. So I feel like at times this is really the energy. It feels like there's just mental chaos, kind of. You're going to the circus. It is just, you know, all of your neurons are like firing, and you know, you're overstimulated. With the dragon, there is the kind of going into states of anger, rage, you know, reactions that are out of proportion to what's going on. So stay out of that circus. Calm it down. You know, take some time for yourself. Don't get into that mode where it's just, you know, it's like manic, you know. And if you do have a tendency towards, you know, hypomania or mania or whatever, you know, make sure that, of course, you know, if you know what that's like, you know how to kind of check in with yourself and, you know, activate that support system for sure. I know it's hard when you know, we get into those kind of higher states of, you know, whatever. It doesn't feel bad until it's over, so, you know, and then you kind of have to deal with the messes you've made. So, you know, if you start to feel yourself ramping up, then it's important to kind of activate those necessary things in your life. Okay, so we're going to look at these affirmation cards, the lightness of being. And these are the earth element. And last week we did the water element. So I'm just going to put this up here and we're going to and we have some lovely roses. And it says, omniscience, trust, relax, and appreciate what you have to increase the flow of prosperity. Yeah. I think, you know, this is what we've been talking about. Relaxing, trying to be in that cool as a cucumber state, right? Appreciating gratitude, grounding, mindfulness. And this is where, you know, that success, that abundance, the ability to create more for ourselves, it flows so well through this. When we are in a state of panic and, you know, just all over the place, it's hard. It's hard to make anything work in those places. And I know that all too well. That's my like default, I think, sometimes. All right. So I want to go ahead and thank you so much for spending this time with me, Taurus. It is always such a pleasure. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm, and that helps us get the video out to more people and grow the channel. If you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, please do. I read all of them and I reply back to each and every one of them. So sometimes it takes me a day or two to get back to them, but you know, I will. I promise. I love reading the comments. I love interacting and getting to know all of you. So I definitely take my time with it, but that's because I like to read them and not just kind of, you know, generically interact with each of these. So, all right. I want to thank you, and we will talk in just a few days.